All right, welcome to a deep dive, crafted specifically for you. We know you're navigating the dynamic world of filmmaking, a creative force, a true solopreneur.
Yeah, definitely.
That means you're juggling a million things, finding flow on an edit, hitting client deadlines, constantly pitching new ideas. It's a hustle that can sometimes feel, well, isolating.
It really can. And it's easy, when you're wearing all those hats, to get laser-focused only on the immediate next gig, the cash flow, the project right in front of you.
Totally.
While that's essential, today we're diving into something that challenges that singular focus in a powerful way.
Exactly. We're pulling key insights from a source called the Little Black Book of Connections. And our mission here is to cut through the noise, grab the most practical, actionable nuggets from this material, the ones that you as a filmmaker and solopreneur can actually use to build the relationships that fuel your network, attract clients, land those projects, and truly grow your creative business beyond just survival mode.
And this source starts by redefining what it even means to be rich. It shifts the spotlight from just money to something far more fundamental, building what it calls rich relationships.
Rich relationships. Okay.
That's the foundation of success, fulfillment, and sustainable wealth, according to this material.
Okay, let's unpack that idea first,
Yeah.
because it's a game changer right out of the gate.
Redefining rich and the paradox of connections.
So the core principle here is simple but profound. True wealth, true richness, is measured primarily by the quality and depth of your relationships.
That's the idea.
These aren't just nice-to-haves. The source argues these are the very connections that generate success, fulfillment, and ultimately financial wealth.
And this hits directly on the solopreneur experience. You know, while the immediate cash from a gig keeps the lights on,
Right.
the ability to eventually find consistent flow on an edit without crushing financial stress or landing those bigger, more creatively fulfilling projects often doesn't come from a cold call.
No, definitely not.
It comes from someone you know, someone who trusts you, someone who recommends you a connection.
The source pushes back against the myth of the Little Black Book being just a giant Rolodex or, a CRM database filled with names.
Yeah.
It emphasizes it's not the list itself, but the book or the tool as a means for making and nurturing actual connections.
And there's a fascinating point about the paradox of modern connections. The source talks about remembering phone numbers from decades ago.
I remember doing that.
Exactly. But not his daughter's number today because it's just a click away.
Yeah.
It highlights how delicate our connections can become when we rely purely on technology.
Good point.
It stresses the importance of what he calls backup. And here, backup means actively nurturing the human relationship itself, not just syncing data.
That immediately brings to mind the powerful question the source brings up from Harvey Mackay. Who can you call at 2 a.m.?
Oof. Yeah. Think about that in the context of your filmmaking business. When something unexpected happens, or you just need a truly honest gut check, who is that person for you?
Right.
And turning that around, who is that person for them? Who would feel comfortable calling you at 2 in the morning because they know you've got their back, professionally or personally?
Is anyone home, so to speak?
Yeah, exactly.
The source is really clear. Approaching networking and connecting with the sole goal of a fast buck or an immediate sale is the wrong mindset.
Totally wrong.
It's not for the impatient entrepreneur. It's about building a fortune, long-term, valuable relationships, not just making a single transactional sale.
So the big takeaway from this first idea is that for you, the filmmaker and solopreneur, your network isn't just a list of past clients or potential leads in a spreadsheet.
It's much more.
It's potentially your most vital safety net when unexpected challenges arise, and it's absolutely your essential launchpad for finding future opportunities and building that consistent, successful career.
The 4 core connection questions.
Okay, building on that foundation of relationships being key, the source presents 4 fundamental questions. It says these questions, when genuinely considered, unlock the answers to growth and success through connection. Let's dive into the first one.
Okay, it's simple. Who do you know?
This isn't just about current close friends. It's reflecting on everyone you've encountered over a lifetime. Thousands of people.
Right. It's a lot when you think about it.
Most might fade, but they've all influenced you. The deeper part of this question, the more powerful part, is who would you like to know? Who are the people you aspire to connect with?
For you navigating the creative landscape, this question pushes you to look beyond your immediate collaborators or recent clients.
Totally.
It's about recognizing potential mentors, future creative partners, or clients hidden among the people you've crossed paths with. even years ago. The source points out that you don't actually stop knowing them. You just become disconnected. The power isn't just in the number of people, but the potential for connection, growth, success, and fulfillment that resides in that collective group. Connection power, growth power, all of it.
They even suggest a quick exercise. List your top 10 current connections. Do you remember their numbers? Or, in today's world, maybe it's their primary email or how to reach them directly.
Sure, the direct line.
The point isn't the format, it's the active knowledge of how to connect.
An actionable way to think about this. The source suggests compiling a list of everyone you know, grouped by category friends, business associates, past customers, etc.
Okay.
For you as a filmmaker, think about compiling a list of everyone you've ever worked with, met at a festival, collaborated with on a student film years ago.
Even that sound guy from way back.
Yeah. Or that publicist you chatted with briefly at a screening. You don't stop knowing them. It's about activating that potential.
Okay, moving to the second question. How well are you connected?
Right. Everyone has a circle of influence. Colleagues, friends, industry peers, community groups. The source observes that many people try to operate too independently.
Guilty sometimes.
We all are. Or they just don't know the people in their circle well enough to feel comfortable asking for help or introductions when they need them. That's a huge missed opportunity.
Right. You shouldn't feel like you have to cold pitch every single idea or find every resource for an edit completely on your own.
Exact.
Chances are someone in your existing network knows exactly the person or resource you need. It's about understanding and leveraging those existing relationships for introductions.
The source references the idea of 6 degrees of separation, noting that in reality, it's often much fewer frequently, just 3 degrees are needed to connect with someone you want to reach.
Wow, 3 degrees.
Your network's network is your power.
So a practical way to leverage this. If you're a filmmaker pitching a project to a specific production company, you can ask your network, does anyone know someone who works at production company name?
Simple ask.
The goal isn't to ask for a job or money up front, but simply for a brief introductory call to learn about their work or introduce yourself. Just a warm intro.
The third core question. Do you know how to make a connection?
This one focuses on your own agency. While referrals are great, you ultimately have to rely on your ability to engage.
Yeah, you got to do the work.
The source is blunt. Cold calling is the least effective way to make a true connection. Networking, done well, is far superior.
This means moving beyond just hitting send on mass email applications or generic online submissions for your services.
The black hole of application.
Exactly. Right? It's about developing the skill to genuinely engage potential clients or collaborators in meaningful dialogue, making them feel seen and interested.
Source points out you can network anywhere if you're aware and prepared a business event, a festival mixer, even just waiting in line for coffee.
Opportunities are everywhere.
Savvy connectors, it says, start with casual conversation, ask engaging questions to learn about the other person, and foster meaningful dialogue that leaves a favorable impression.
Think about applying this at an event. If you're a filmmaker attending a festival mixer, instead of feeling pressure to hand out cards and deliver a canned pitch.
Which feels awful sometimes.
It does. You could focus on asking people about their favorite films of the festival or what projects they're currently excited about. Genuinely listening, finding common ground, that's how you make a connection, not just a contact.
And finally, the fourth question, which the source calls the most powerful element of connecting. Who knows you?
This flips the script. It's about intentionally exposing yourself to the marketplace in a valuable way.
How so?
The goal is to create a law of attraction so that people who could offer opportunities start seeking you out.
This is huge for a solopreneur. It's shifting from the constant chase for gigs to having opportunities begin to come to you.
Exactly.
Because your work, your value, and your reputation are already known in your niche. It's about proactively building your reputation before you're in a desperate need for the next editing project or directing gig.
And the source estimates that a high percentage of people never do the consistent work required to get truly known in a valuable way.
Which means if you do.
That makes it incredibly powerful for the small percentage who do.
So the core takeaway from these 4 questions for you is this. While knowing who you know is a starting point, the real power comes from knowing how well you're connected.
Right.
Mastering the skill of making new connections, and most importantly, intentionally building your visibility so that the right people know who you are and the value you offer.
Getting known. The law of attraction in action.
Okay, let's really focus on that 4th question. Who knows you? The source hammers this home as the single most valuable element.
It makes intuitive sense, right? The better known you become for something valuable, the more people who need that value will naturally want to connect with you.
Yeah, exactly. When you're unknown, you're constantly initiating. When you're known, think about recognizable experts in the filmmaking world, or even major figures like a Tiger Woods or an Oprah. People reach out to them.
Right, the calls come to them.
And for you, the filmmaker solopreneur, this is the path to attracting clients and projects based on your demonstrated expertise and reputation, rather than the constant churn of cold applications or pitches.
That sounds like a dream.
It is, but the source is realistic. You don't go from unknown to celebrity overnight. It starts small, but it has to start.
So how do you start?
The simple, albeit challenging answer the source gives for getting known is putting yourself deliberately in front of people who have the authority or influence to say yes to you,
Okay.
or people you simply want to become known to.
Makes sense.
Visibility. The source shares how he achieved this. Writing and speaking were foundational, but also actively joining relevant organizations, having a blog, constantly generating ideas, essentially, focusing on becoming a person recognized for providing value in his field.
So being valuable first.
Precisely. He argues that traditional sales training is often backwards. It should focus on positioning yourself effectively, promoting your value, communicating compellingly, and engaging people, rather than just closing a deal.
There's a fantastic anecdote he shares. He moved to Charlottesville, hustling to network, speak, and consult. 4 years later, he just started writing, still wasn't financially secure. But he's in a grocery store aisle, and a complete stranger stops him. They recognize him from an enthusiasm talk he gave 2 years prior at a church singles group.
Wow. 2 years later.
Right. They remembered his words, his energy, the value he provided in that moment, even though it felt like a small gig at the time.
That story perfectly illustrates the source's point. When you put valuable energy out there, people affected will remember and find ways to tell you, often when you least expect it.
Like cosmic payback beginning its work.
That's the term they use, yeah.
Applying this actionable idea of putting yourself in front of yes people.
Yeah.
If you're a filmmaker targeting corporate clients, identify industry associations where your potential clients gather.
Good place to start.
Join one, and even better, volunteer for a committee. That immediately increases your visibility and puts you in regular interaction with decision makers in a non-transactional setting.
So the key takeaway here is to consciously shift your focus from just chasing the next job to actively positioning yourself as an expert in your specific filmmaking niche.
Start building that known for factor.
The strategies for connecting. Practical guidelines.
Right, the source lays out a series of strategies, rules, and guidelines for connecting. They're described as simplistic, meaning easy to understand conceptually.
They're not easy to do.
Exactly. Definitely not simple to do, because they require consistent implementation and self-discipline.
Let's pull out some of the most relevant ones for you as a solopreneur building your creative business. A foundational one is be friendly first.
Simple enough.
Seems simple, but the source says this breeds likability and trust. Friendly's twin is smiley. People want to connect with and do business with people they genuinely like and trust.
For your freelancing work, think about how you start every client interaction. Is it immediately down to business? Or do you begin emails or video calls with a warm, personal touch?
A little bit of warmth matters.
Just a brief, genuine opening makes you more approachable and starts building that crucial layer of trust beyond the transaction.
Connected to that is project your self-image. And the idea that people judge by every action. Your handshake, your dress, your online presence, these create first impressions.
First impressions count.
They really do. The source uses the term first class, repeatedly meaning your actions, appearance, and demeanor should consistently reflect high quality.
As a filmmaker, this means ensuring your online portfolio, your website, even your video call backdrop are professional and reflect the caliber of work you deliver.
Yeah, that virtual background.
Your virtual dress absolutely matters in creating that first-class impression before you even speak. Delivering every single project component, the proposal, the communication, the final files, in a professional, organized, high-quality manner.
A whole packet.
That's your first-class performance that builds your reputation for reliability over time.
Another key strategy is less focus on motive, more on connecting. The source advises dropping your immediate agenda when meeting someone new.
Don't lead with the ask.
Exactly. Seek friendship or acceptance first. The ask, if there ever is one, comes much later, naturally arising from a genuine relationship.
This is particularly relevant when you're meeting potential collaborators or mentors you admire. Instead of immediately pitching your project,
Which can feel pushy.
focus the conversation entirely on their work, their interests. Express genuine appreciation for what they do. That authentic interest is far more likely to create a connection than an immediate pitch.
And foundational to genuine interest is genuine interest in others. Ask questions to truly learn about them, their opinions, ideas, feedback, experiences.
Make it about them.
The source says most people love talking about themselves.
Before a discovery call with a potential client, do a little research. Go into the conversation with thoughtful questions about their business goals, their challenges, and how they envision their project succeeding.
Show you've done your homework.
Showing you care about their needs, not just landing the gig, builds rapport.
Finally, the source stresses, staying in touch is more important than the initial connection. The source strongly recommends using something like an e-zine for consistent, valuable communication.
Ah, the e-zine again.
Yeah, it keeps coming up. It's crucial.
For your filmmaking business, set a recurring reminder, maybe quarterly, to reach out to past clients or key contacts. Share a relevant industry article, a tip on video marketing,
Something helpful.
or a link to a cool tool you've discovered that might help them. Providing value keeps you top of mind without a direct sales ask, like the source does with his weekly newsletter.
As the source quotes Jim Rohn, simple self-disciplines repeated over time will lead to success. These strategies aren't complex, but they require consistent practice.
So the practical takeaway from these strategies, pick one that feels most relevant or challenging to you right now. Maybe it's being more genuinely interested or focusing on projecting that first-class image consistently.
Just one to start.
Commit to actively practicing just that one in your interactions this week.
Providing value and building relationships.
Okay, let's drill down even further into one of those core strategies, providing value first. The source calls this the secret, getting the other person to benefit first.
This is embodied in what the source calls Rule 1 and 2 of the more the more. Rule 1. The more you do for them, the more they will do for you, and the more you will mean to them. Rule 2. The more value you provide, the more they will provide back.
This is absolutely essential for building deep, trusting relationships with clients and collaborators, securing repeat business, and getting those high-quality referrals that are gold for a solopreneur.
Gold, absolutely.
It moves the relationship beyond a one-off transaction.
The source shares their own AHA moment, realizing they hadn't been proactive enough in doing things for their most valuable connections.
It's easy to overlook that.
Yeah.
Their actionable recommendation is powerful and specific. Take your top 10 most important contacts. Next to each name, write down one specific action you can take to provide value to them within the next 30 days.
Okay, just one action per person.
Do this consistently. And that's 120 specific value actions you're putting into the world every year. They say this is how you consciously get karma headed in your direction.
And that leads to the concept of cosmic payback. You put value out there, you give generously without expectation, and often value comes back to you.
But maybe not from who you expect.
Right, not necessarily from the exact person you gave it to, but the universe seems to find a way. The source tells the story of a random email from someone who bought 10 copies of his book after reading one they got for free.
Wow.
An unexpected return on value given.
They contrast different ways to get referrals. Asking immediately after you've delivered a project, before the client has fully experienced the value.
Yeah, that feels premature.
Not great. Asking later, after they've seen success, better. You've earned it.
Makes sense.
The best way, actively giving a referral or making an introduction for someone else in your network.
Giving first. Always back to that.
And they suggest a specific strategy for giving referrals. Instead of just handing over someone's contact info, offer to facilitate a three-way introduction, maybe a quick lunch or breakfast,
Oh, I like that.
between your friend and the person you're connecting them with. That personal touch makes it much more effective.
The source also introduces net weaving, giving to others freely without measuring, trusting that the network will eventually repay you, often in unexpected ways.
Net weaving, okay.
It's a philosophy of generosity that builds a strong, interconnected web. This echoes his dad's philosophy and his own experience, where writing a column intended just to share ideas led to friendships.
Okay.
And those friendships eventually led to business, but the giving came first.
They also discuss strategic alliance referrals, earning referrals by collaborating with customers, other businesses, community groups, so everyone benefits.
But there are prerequisites.
Yes, and they are key.
Yeah.
Must build relationships, do great work, provide impeccable service, help their business first, be liked and respected, be involved, have mutual trust.
A lot of trust involved.
Give first without measuring, and allow time for the relationships to mature. It's not a quick fix.
Definitely a long game.
So an actionable way to put this value-first principle into practice right now. For a filmmaker who just finished a project, after you deliver the final video files,
Okay.
send the client a personalized email with links to maybe 2 articles or resources that might genuinely help them promote or maximize the reach of their new video.
Oh, that's great. Shows you're still thinking about them.
Exactly. It shows you're still thinking about their success beyond the project scope.
The core takeaway for you here is to make providing value to your connections a proactive habit. Identify just one person in your network where you can offer help, an idea, or a resource this week without expecting anything in return.
Give without expecting.
Where and how to connect.
Okay, so we know connections are vital, we know the questions to ask ourselves, we know value is key, and getting known matters. But practically, where and how do you actually do this connecting?
Right, the nuts and bolts.
The source says connections can be made anywhere, but it requires 2 things: awareness and preparation, fueled by courage.
And the biggest barrier? Fear.
Always fear.
Fear manifests as procrastination, and procrastination, especially for a solopreneur with a million things to do, leads to missed opportunities.
Ugh, procrastination. The enemy.
It's the fear of rejection, the fear of awkwardness, the fear of not knowing what to say. It can stop you from pitching that idea, following up with that lead, or even just striking up a conversation.
The source differentiates between connecting at formal business events, where you should know the industry and share relevant insights,
Got it.
and more general networking events, good for practicing working in the room. They have a simple 50-butt rule, meaning go where there are people.
Love that, the 50-butt rule.
But the emphasis isn't just on where you are, but how you are there. The source runs through various locations, seminar.
Yeah.
Shared subject matter makes appointments easy if you don't just sit with your friends. The golf course, a multi-hour connection opportunity where manners matter.
5 hours, yeah.
A bar, social communication skills are key. Friendly, engaging, humorous, self-confident. A restaurant, casual conversation, looking around for intro opportunities. A ball game.
Common ground.
Common interest, talking the game, sharing personal memories, creates emotional connection.
They also cover connecting with people already in your orbit. Coworkers, acres of diamonds, know their interests, spouses' names.
Right under your nose.
Your banker, proactive communication, asking for ideas. Influential people, hardest to get in front of, a damn good plan needed, but a third-party intro is best.
That warm intro again.
Professional people, start with your own lawyer accountant, introduce them to others, even your doctor. Peace of mind impacts your energy and focus for creativity.
Hadn't thought of the doctor.
Connecting with a mentor is highlighted as crucial for guidance and inspiration.
Key advice on conversation from the source. Focus on the other person. Ask for their opinions, ideas, feedback, experiences.
Keep it about them.
Talk about yourself brief. Inject appropriate humor. And importantly, don't top them. Don't try to one-up their story.
Oh yeah, nobody likes a topper.
Every person you meet, they say, is an exercise in connecting, whether they become a lasting connection or not.
Back to that biggest barrier, fear. It's your mental state fighting your determination. The source uses the analogy of waiting for unbearable tooth pain before going to the dentist.
Ouch.
Procrastination only makes it worse.
So how do you beat it?
The only way to overcome that fear, according to the source, is through developing self-confidence via preparation and building determination through consistent small actions over time.
Preparation and small steps.
It's Jim Rohn against simple self-disciplines. Doing the small, slightly scary things consistently builds the muscle.
The source gives specific clues. Be there, consistently show up, provide value without an immediate agenda. Be friends, engage in non-business activities, have fun. Bigger clues. Use information from sales departments or friends' family to understand someone better for deeper connection. And the reality clue, how you treat others, is a reflection of how you treat yourself. Work on yourself first.
Interesting. Work on yourself first.
There's a direct connection exercise provided. List 5 people you want to connect with. Identify one person who can help you reach each.
Okay, specific.
Create an engaging, value-driven reason for connecting, and commit to making 5 calls or sending 5 tailored messages. But the prerequisite is preparation. It's homework you have to do.
Gotta do the homework.
The Haddonfield anecdote perfectly illustrates the fewer degrees, more likely to connect formula. and the power of finding common ground.
What was that one?
Sharing a childhood street address instantly created an authentic bond that led to opportunity just from that tiny common link.
Wow, amazing. So a powerful tactic for overcoming that fear of procrastination when you're dreading, say, pitching a new idea. Break the process down into absurdly small, simple steps.
Tiny steps.
Today, maybe just identify who needs to receive the pitch. Tomorrow, write only the first draft of the email subject line. The next day, just the first paragraph.
Okay, manageable chunks.
Building momentum through tiny, consistent actions is the antidote to being paralyzed by the big, scary task.
The essential takeaway from this chapter is that connecting requires you to be prepared, present, and willing to take action despite fear.
Take the step.
Identify one connection you've been putting off reaching out to because of that fear or uncertainty, and this week, take just one small preparatory step towards it.
Building your brand and image, becoming connection-worthy.
All right, this chapter zooms in on how you are perceived. It's about intentionally building the brand of you.
The brand of you, okay.
Creating an image and reputation so compelling that others want to connect with you, rather than you always having to chase them.
Makes sense.
Your image, your actions, and your reputation are the key indicators of how successful you'll be at connecting.
This is incredibly relevant for a filmmaker solopreneur. Your brand is your style, your professionalism, your reliability, the unique value you bring.
Totally.
Crafting a compelling professional identity attracts the right clients and projects. It's also about ensuring your perceived value aligns with your actual skill.
That alignment is key.
Especially in a crowded creative field, and building the self-assurance to overcome past negative feedback or moments of creative block.
The source notes that getting in the door might not be that hard sometimes, but leaving having achieved your objective is.
The follow-through.
You need a clear goal for the interaction, and crucially, a reason they would be interested in connecting with you. Why should they care?
The two keys to connecting, according to the source, boil down to preparation, knowing who they are, their business, your objective, and how you'll approach it.
Prep work again.
And having that clear objective along with a compelling reason why they should care about you or what you offer.
The source shares a personal, slightly controversial anecdote about changing from wearing casual dungarees to slacks for business meetings.
Oh, yeah.
His connect rate tripled. He acknowledges it might seem like compromising ideals, but he framed it simply. His jeans were compromising his wallet.
Wow. Pragmatic.
It's a stark example of how perception, even simple ones, impacts your ability to connect effectively in a given context.
This leads to the first-class factor, consistently looking, acting, talking, and being known as first class.
Be first class.
A first-class reputation built through consistent actions implies that everything else about you, your work, your reliability, is also first class.
The source poses tough questions to the listener. What are you truly known for? What are you known as?
Oh, good questions.
And what is your four-part reputation across your company customers, your industry, your community, and your friends' family? These are the perceptions you're building daily.
It reinforces the idea that you absolutely have to work on yourself, on becoming that first-class, connection-worthy person before you can effectively connect with others at a deep level.
Work on yourself first.
The source shares their own journey, striving for that first-class image while working towards being known as a world-class expert, admitting it's a constant process.
They make a powerful connection between courage and self-image. Low self-esteem often comes from absorbing negative environmental feedback over time.
Yeah, that can happen.
The solution involves actively changing your environment, seeking out supporters and cheerleaders, and surrounding yourself with friends who encourage your dreams.
Choose your circle wisely.
Courage, they say, is self-inflicted. It's a decision, and it gains momentum like learning to swim or ride a bike. The more you do it, the easier it gets.
The universal truth here is simple but powerful. If you make yourself truly valuable and memorable consistently, others will naturally want to make you a part of their network.
Become an asset.
You become an asset they seek out. Thinking about an actionable step for building your image and reputation. If you're updating your online presence, like your website or LinkedIn profile, focus on crafting a professional, concise bio. Instead of just listing past jobs, highlight the unique value you bring to projects, your specific creative voice, or the niche you excel in.
State your value prop.
What do you want to be known as? State it clearly.
The takeaway from this chapter is that consciously building your professional image and reputation and working on your own self-worth makes you magnetic for the connections you want to attract.
Be magnetic.
Ask a trusted friend or colleague how they honestly perceive your professional reputation, and based on their feedback, identify just one specific area you can actively work on strengthening this week.
The secrets of getting known. Writing, e-zines, speaking.
Okay, let's dive into the source's core strategies, the ones they call the secrets, for effectively increasing your visibility and creating that powerful law of attraction we talked about.
The secrets.
Okay, these are the actions that build relationships, create reputation, and make connecting significantly easier.
The source prioritizes three main things: writing, having an e-zine, and speaking.
A big three.
They make a bold claim right away. Writing leads to wealth. It's not just about publishing books. It clarifies your thoughts, solidifies your philosophy, positions you as an expert,
All that good stuff.
and yes, can directly and indirectly generate opportunities and wealth.
As a filmmaker wanting to be known for a specific genre or style, you could commit to writing for just 15 minutes each morning.
15 minutes, doable.
Write about your passion for that genre, a lesson learned on a recent project, or a story related to your work. It clarifies your thinking and generates content you can use elsewhere.
And edit the next day, right?
Yeah, the source says to edit it the next day, even reading it aloud to catch flaws.
Next, the e-zine or email newsletter. The source calls this the single most valuable asset over the next millennium.
Strong words.
They share the journey of their own, Sales Caffeine, starting small and growing to over 130,000 subscribers simply by consistently providing weekly value.
Consistency is key there.
Its power lies in preserving loyalty with existing contacts, finding new customers, and generating revenue over time. The absolute key is that the information you provide must be perceived as valuable, helpful, or profitable by your audience.
It has to be valuable to them.
If you're a filmmaker wanting to stay consistently top of mind with past clients and potential leads, creating a simple weekly or monthly email newsletter is incredibly effective.
Keep it simple.
Share 1 or 2 quick tips on how businesses can use video more effectively. Link to a cool piece of filmmaking tech you recommend, or share an insight about visual storytelling. Focus on providing value related to their world.
Make it relevant.
And you become an invaluable resource.
And finally, speaking, the source notes that writing often provides the raw material for your speeches. Confidence isn't about eliminating fear.
It's about preparation.
It's about being prepared and doing it. Delivering valuable information with passion positions you as a perceived leader in your field.
Passion plus value.
The source's staggering stat, over 1,800 speeches given, leading to 0 outbound sales calls because people called him to book engagements.
Wow, that's the law of attraction right there.
That's it at work. For you aiming to attract local business clients, offer to give a short, free talk at your local Chamber of Commerce or a business networking group.
Get in front of them.
Share insights on something like how to use video to tell your brand story, or common mistakes to avoid when hiring a videographer. It positions you as an expert and gets you in front of potential clients who need your value.
The source also mentions complementary positioning elements like getting quoted in print, being published, joining trade associations, deliberately being different,
Stand out.
adding value that differentiates you, and leveraging testimonials. These all amplify the core 3 strategies.
The underlying philosophy of these secrets is consistent with what we've discussed. Put yourself and your value in front of the people who can say yes, and deliver value first.
Value first, always.
This creates that magnetic effect, making connecting flow much more easily than constant cold outreach.
The major clue here is that building this kind of visibility and value takes thought, dedication, and consistency. It doesn't happen by accident.
Intentional effort. So for your action this week, look at these 3 secrets: writing, e-zine, speaking. Which one resonates most or feels most achievable for a small start?
Pick one.
Choose just one and schedule your very first small, consistent action step towards implementing it this week.
Avoiding mistakes and the lifelong process.
As we wrap up this deep dive, the source addresses common pitfalls and reinforces a crucial truth. Building and keeping connections isn't a project with an end date.
Nope, it's ongoing.
It's a lifelong process.
According to the source, the single biggest connection mistake you can make is prejudging others, making snap judgments, often spotting the negative first.
That's easy to do.
It is. They offer a powerful truth. Open mind leads to open wallet. Closed mind leads to closed wallet.
Open mind, open wallet. Wow, I like that.
This is critical for a filmmaker solopreneur because you could be missing out on incredible opportunities, clients, collaborators, mentors by making quick, possibly inaccurate judgments based on appearance, background, or initial impressions.
Don't judge a book by its cover, basically.
Exactly. The source shares two fantastic stories that illustrate this. The Dallas airport story, where lending $100 to a man he could have easily dismissed as unreliable led to $750,000 worth of business because the man turned out to be a company president who valued the trust shown.
Whoa. That's incredible.
And the story of the little Chinese lady he met after giving a free speech. He could have prejudged her, but because he was open and focused on providing value through his talk,
Right.
she approached him, offering to get his book published in China. That connection, made without expectation, resulted in over $100,000 in royalties.
Amazing. Proof points.
These aren't just anecdotes, they're proof points for the power of an open mind and giving first.
The source also emphasizes that joining organizations is not an option, it's an imperative.
Gotta join.
The NBC example highlights how actively participating, doing business with members, and consistently thanking them for their business or connections. Thank 5, be thanked by 5.
That system sounds useful.
Led to lifelong friendships and significant business growth. It's the more rule applied to involvement within a structured group.
Maintaining a friendly attitude, friend, is at the root of friendly, and a constant positive outlook are fundamental. The source also advises actively avoiding unfriendly, bitter, or negative people,
Protect your energy.
as they tend to drain energy and aren't conducive to positive connections.
They distinguish between empty schmoozing and pointed, focused, engaging, meaningful schmoozing.
Meaningful schmoozing, okay.
The latter has substance, confidence, and authority. What you say and how you say it in those initial interactions reflects who people perceive you to be.
They're sizing you up.
They're deciding if they like you and want to connect further based on that engagement.
A powerful concept they introduce is wow to woo. It's about making yourself and your interactions memorable, combined with providing value.
Wow to woo-woo.
Think creative, unexpected gestures that make someone say, wow, W. The source shares examples like personalized sports jerseys for attendees or memorable business cards like the coin or the cat card that people kept and showed others.
Those memorable touches.
For you as a filmmaker looking to deepen client loyalty or make a memorable impression, after delivering a significant project, send the client a small, personalized wow W gift.
Like what?
Maybe it's something related to their company's brand, their personal interests if you know them well, or even a framed still from the video you created for them.
Oh, nice idea.
It doesn't have to be expensive, but it needs to be thoughtful and memorable. As the source says, anything memorable will help you connect.
Staying in touch, especially using that value-driven e-zine weekly, is highlighted again as absolutely critical.
There it is again.
The source offers 5.5 questions to evaluate how well you're doing at communicating value to your connections regularly. The universal truth. You must communicate value to every connection consistently.
Every week.
Value. And finally, rapport. It's defined as relation, connection, accord, harmony, agreement. It's subtle, but incredibly significant.
That feeling of connection.
Establishing a business friendship, finding common interests people want to buy from someone they like and trust, from a friend,
From friends.
whether at an event, on the phone, get to the point quickly but find common ground and maybe share a laugh, or at your own place of business, being observant and finding that common ground builds rapport.
Find the common link.
The source's powerful statement.
Right.
The best way to win the connection is to first win the person.
Win the person. This all leads to the core idea of the lifelong connection process. It's not just about the never-ending search for new connections,
Right.
but the dedicated, ongoing work of keeping connections alive for a lifetime. It requires hard work, self-discipline, and has no finish line. You can't stop.
It never ends.
Your database, your asset base of relationships continually builds over years and decades. As you grow your network and nurture it, you grow in success.
Makes sense.
Following the value first, consistent engagement formula leads to connections, providing endless value back over time. The source describes his own results over 20-plus years as staggering, almost unbelievable, proving the power of this long-term approach.
The epilogue of the source warns against trying to jump to connection mastery without doing the fundamental work.
Can't skip steps.
It's a progressive science. You need to master adding and subtracting before you attempt calculus.
So, the ultimate takeaway from this section and the whole deep dive. Connection isn't a one-time task, but an ongoing disciplined habit.
It's a habit.
Building and nurturing your network is as crucial as your creative skill. Schedule just 15 minutes this week, purely dedicated to nurturing an existing connection.
15 minutes for nurturing.
Send that value-driven email, make a quick check-in call, or send a thoughtful article you know they'd find interesting. Outro.
Wow. That was a true deep dive into the little black book of connections. The core message that emerges loud and clear is that true success, especially navigating the unique path of a filmmaker and solopreneur, hinges on building rich relationships.
Absolutely. Rich relationships.
It's a journey from potentially isolated hustle to connection-fueled opportunity, built on consciously providing value first, making yourself known in valuable ways, consistently nurturing those relationships, and a commitment to working on yourself.
And again, everything we've discussed and every insight shared today was drawn specifically from the source material provided. It's packed with practical wisdom if you're willing to put in the consistent work.
It really is. For you, trying to find creative flow amidst deadlines, needing to land those next projects, or refining your pitching these principles, offer a roadmap.
A solid roadmap.
Building a strong, supportive, and opportunity-rich network based on genuine relationships isn't a shortcut, but it's a powerful engine for sustainable creating success.
So, as you go back to your work this week, here's a final thought to carry with you, inspired by the core truths we explored. What small, consistent action will you take this week?
Just one small action.
To turn a passive contact into an active connection, or to strengthen a relationship that could one day be absolutely priceless for your journey.
Think about that one person. Who can you connect with or provide value to in the coming days? Take that small step.